Assalamualaikum everyone, welcome back to this channel. I hope you guys are doing well. So the last video I did was on why business English is important and how can you learn this format of English at home without paying too expensive courses. So when I did that video and I was thinking, a thought came in my mind basically that why not to do some lessons which can be helpful to not only the freshers but also who are experienced and may need some help. So I'm here with the video and I'll do some more lessons. So this is the first one in which we will talk about some introductions, that how do you introduce yourself and how to network with people, the first meeting, how it should be. So if you think that this video is important for you, I would suggest you to watch this till the end. And if you think that it is not of your interest, I would suggest you to skip it here at this point. So if you, again, requesting you to subscribe my channel if you think it is adding some value to your knowledge in your life. Otherwise, your wish, your call. So without a further ado, let's begin this video. So introduction actually plays a very important role when you are communicating with the person or a group of people, especially if you are meeting the person or the group of people you are communicating with for the very first time. So how it happens that when you are introducing yourself, you are basically creating an impression which actually is, sort of long lasting. It could be positive, it could be negative, depends upon how you have introduced yourself and what kind of vibe you have given to the person who is on the opposite end. So me being associated with the corporate event sector, I meet people more often and during the networking meetup or something like that, in training, seminar, conferences. So when we have that introductory session where people give their introductions, I have often seen people stammer. Why this happens? Basically, they don't realize the surrounding thing, or they just make up their mind that they have to do the introduction in English only. And this is where they do the biggest mistake. What happens that when you are good at your work, when you have, be associated with something and you know what you are doing, you should stick to that part and you should actually bring out that part in the first meeting. I'm focusing on the English part in my videos right now, but I would say when you are doing introductions and if you are not comfortable with the English as the language or as the, language medium, as I say, so go for the language with which you are comfortable with. I'm talking about the introductions part. I know you can understand English. I know most of us do understand English because we are working people. We are either students or in our professional lives. We do understand. But we a little, we take it aback, or we are a little careful and conscious when we are communicating with people. The reason is that we are conscious of the words we speak. And even if we know the correct lines, correct terminology, correct pronunciation, correct everything we know about it. But what happens that some sort of consciousness comes in and we make the mistake. So even if you observe, I just said we makes the mistake. It is a wrong sentence, but I said it in a flow. It should be like we make mistake, right? So what happens that when you are communicating with someone, the person observes that how confident you are. So my first tip is that do not overdo yourself. If you are not comfortable while speaking English or while introducing yourself in English, if you are not comfortable with that, go for the language you are comfortable with. This is very, very important. So when you are communicating in the language you are comfortable with, or when you are introducing yourself to someone in the language you are comfortable with, it naturally adds up the confidence to your all-over personality and it further builds up the impression, which actually should be long-lasting. So your first impression is definitely not the last impression, but your first impression helps you in creating more of a positive impression on the person you are talking to or you're communicating with. So I'm sure I'm clear till this point. Now we will talk about the introductions at some business meet or during some training, or where you have to give your presentation or anything like, an event or a one-to-one meet or a person-to-person meeting or if you are addressing a group of people, how would you do that? So introductions are most important and most interesting part of the conversation. And how would you do that? You should, of course, start with your greeting. In this video, I'm going to tell you about some of the key points which will be helpful for you in effectively talking about your job and your profession. So as I said, it should be start with the greeting, and further you should introduce yourself by your name, mention your profession, offer in what context you are working at the XYZ company, highlight your role and responsibilities, and discuss about your interest and why you are there, and give a personal touch to whatever introduction you are giving, and it will actually create the impact. And use the appropriate vocabulary. It is very, very important. When you are communicating, let the person ask about their interest, that it will add some value to your introduction. Keep the eye contact, maintain the eye contact, and your body language should be good. You shouldn't look like a low confident person. Your body should be like, your all over persona should be very confident. Always practice active listening. Be concise. Do not exaggerate the things, and talk according to the situation. And this is how you give your introductions. For example, you can start as that, "Hi, I am Kiratulan and I work as a director of projects at XYZ organization." And then further you can add your job roles and how you're doing it. So everything which is in relevance to your personality, you should say it with a confidence. You should adapt the surroundings. You should know that where you are talking, to whom you are addressing, and how you should talk. This is very, very important thing to do. And this actually adds up the interest level of the listener. It gives you the edge where you're talking to the person, and when you're talking in a right way, the person who is a listener over there, it will, develop a sort of interest for them, because you must be maintaining eye contact with that person. Your body language would actually kind of communicate that how confident you are, and you would allow the person to, with little postures, keep your body calm and composed. Do not be stiff in that scenario. Don't, kind of your hand movements, your eye movements, your facial expressions, they should be in the relaxed manner. When you are quite relaxed, when you are, you should be conscious, of course, be conscious of your surroundings. But when you are talking to someone, your physical and your mental presence should be there. 110% it should be there, but it shouldn't be stiff. It is very, very important. So always remember that the key to successfully introducing your job, yourself, your profession, or anything you are there for, I'm talking in general, you need to be clear, you need to be engaging, you need to be considerate about the other person's interest, the person who is there to listen you, or the group of people who are there to hear you. Adapt your approach based on the situation and the individual or the group of people you are conversing with. Be prepared to provide more information on being inquired, or ask for their thoughts if the conversation continues. So before I sign off from this podcast, I would like to share 3 tips which are basically very important and which will help you in excelling your English communication skills when it is not your native language and you are still in the learning phase. And this can be challenging but highly rewarding. So here are the 3 tips. Number 1, practice regularly. Speaking practice. You need to engage in conversation with the native or fluent English speakers whenever it is possible. If you don't have access to the native speakers, consider language exchange partners or online language learning platforms that offer speaking practice. There are many platforms which are free of cost and providing English communication skills courses. Like I did provide a link in my previous video of Oxford, where they are actually helping out people to learn English in improving their communication skills. So before I sign off from this podcast, I would like to share 3 tips which will help you in improving your English communication skills when it is not your native language and you're still in learning phase. This will be a little challenging, but definitely highly rewarding. So let's begin about the tips. So tip number 1 is regular practice. Engage in conversations, join language groups, record yourself and read aloud to practice speaking and listening skills. Expand your vocabulary and grammar. Read regularly, use language learning apps, take courses, keep a vocabulary journal to enhance your language foundation. Immerse yourself in watching movies, TV shows, listen to music and podcasts, think in English, and use language in daily life to immerse yourself in English. So these were the 3 tips, and I would like to take a leave from you. And I thoroughly enjoyed this podcast, and I would come up with more such interesting ones, and I'm sure that you will also love it. So once again, requesting you to subscribe this channel and take care of yourself. Till the next video, bye-bye.